not everybody who's invited to conduct the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at the Royal Albert Hall. Very few serious musicians ever made it, but it happened to a man whose ambition was to be a serious actor. Until, that is, he fell over a chair one day at rehearsal and became a comedian instead. Now, a critic once said of him that he looks like a mop and talks like a soda siphon. The inventor of the left-handed teacup, Michael Bentine. Welcome on again, Michael. Welcome to Birmingham, Michael. Are you perfectly comfortable in the hotel?
Well, yeah, pretty, yeah, but you know, it's a bit of a barracks. You know? we have laughs there. I said I've really never done such comfortable porridge in my life, and you know, we had a lot of laughs with the staff. We call them the screws, and one of them we call the chief screw, and a jolly nice girl she is too. But while we were there, the trouble is, they give you a continental breakfast, and that's not for us, because, you know, we're
no British breakfast, no bacon?
No, they won't go, and you know, the cost gone up again with the eggs and the milk and all this stuff going
Just
up.
tonight?
Yeah, butter, eggs, everything up 8p.
Fantastic.
So I think the answer is this. It's a very simple idea. It's a dehydrated, mass-produced breakfast, the instant British breakfast. I wonder if you can see that. There's nice. Simple idea, and that is the full breakfast. There's none of this nonsense. I mean, it's completely dehydrated, completely solar. Quite simply. I can see that. Can you?
Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs, and we probably put it around that
yes,
simply. You see, you get the cornflakes and the sugar and the tea, toast.
What is this?
Marmalade. It's traditional. No, it's marmalade. It's traditional.
Newspaper.
And that's it. Now, all you do is you just pour water over it. You see, you've got a copy of the Times there, and you just pour it. And
put a lot of water, yes.
Put it in a very, very hot oven, which I have, here, and put it in there, and then all you have to do is to turn it right up there, and you've got this instant. And instantly you can bring out this absolutely perfectly boiling hot British breakfast. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, lovely, yes, very nice.
Be careful, the Times is boiling hot.
Still hot.
Wow!
Running at the edges there.
Yeah, I'll put it
over there. Come on over here. Let's get out of all that smoke, Michael. Michael, I must say, I'm very surprised that you've chosen this particular time to talk about great British achievements, because a lot of people feel that, you know, it really is the nadir of our fortune.
No, I don't. I think people are just, you know, knocking it, because, you know, Britain's a great country. While we can go back to the land, the answer is to go back to the land. We've over-industrialised the country, and while we can produce things like this plant here, which of course was one of the great plants of Warwickshire, which of course Warwickshire produced this for thousands and thousands of years.
What's it called?
What's
it called? Yes.
Dingleweed. And it had dingleweed is one of the great crops. As you can see, it's a little hard to grow, and the great Warwickshire skill there, because the ultraviolet rays of the sun can affect the young dingleweed. This young plant here is only a few weeks old, you see. So they weave this special thick matting, this Warwickshire matting, which is laid over the top, and that breaks down the light. But you can see here, there's a young plant that, you see, even in this
ultraviolet light.
Well, that has got an ultraviolet filter in it, and you can see that even in, you see, just hold it up to the light, and you can see it wilt quite simply. It's a great tragedy to see that. Great tragedy to see it. And then, after about a year, you can discard the matting. You see, you've got the strong plant, typical Warwickshire. It's a strong Warwickshire plant. That's very strong indeed, sturdy, a strong fibrous plant. And then you get the dingleweed gathering by the dingleweed gatherers, the danglers, as they're called here. The dingle danglers, they're called. And because of the way that they hold it. And it's a very old tradition around Brummagem and Coventry, and all around Warwickshire. They come in, Warwick especially, they come in singing the age-old song, you know, here we go, dingle-dangle. And this gives a great feeling of oneness and unity, and then they strike it out, just one blow, like you see the fibrous root there. And then they dongle it, which is this you can feel it. Please feel it. Please feel absolutely free. And then you see by crushing it with a hammer, you get this fibrous matting, which this fibrous end there, and that of course is used for the end product.
What's the end product?
Well, that's actually woven into this matting, which is used to protect the young dingleweed from the harmful ultraviolet rays. But, you know, Warwickshire is full of tradition, of course. Sorry. Sorry. And when you get an animal like this, again, you see something here that if we develop this, we could probably produce more meat and export more meat. It's a wonderful thing. It's
animal genetics.
Yes, of course. Well, this is genetic engineering. This is pure genetic engineering. But, of course, it comes from the traditional creature, which is so seldom seen in this part of the world now. This is
what's it called?
The Wolverhampton Wolfenpoof, which has for years wandered all round Wolverhampton, you see. It's Wolfen on one side of the fence and it's Puff on the other. It's, of course, pursued, hunted all round the county by the old county Wolfenpoof hunters, some being after one end, and quite a few people today being after the other. And the other, of course, being extremely popular all round Wolverhampton. And because from the puffs, they make these special powder puffs that for years have been immensely popular in that part of the world. But you see, you can see that it has exact rectilinear verisimilitude. That's the point.
And each end is exactly the same as well.
That's what I said, yes, it has rectilinear verisimilitude. In the words of the world's greatest living authority, who's Dr. Angus Cameron of Edinburgh University, Scotland, it hasn't got a hid. As we say in the Gaelic, twa ers nae hid. Of course, you have the Gaelic. Yes, of course, you have the Gaelic. But there's a great poem written by the great Scottish poet Rabbi Burns, which is a great favourite of mine. Deckle doon yon stocket cror, not your trackle mechty. Beautiful words, because applies especially to this little creature. But of course, the tragedy is they're dying out. Yes. Because you see, the camouflage given by nature to protect it from the hunter is its very worst enemy, because at a long day's run, a long day's end, very exhausted, it may sit down with the breathing end in soft mud and suffocate. And of course the hunter is completely confused as well, because he doesn't know whether it's coming or going. And of course neither does the Wolfenpoof, and this is the great tragedy. They are dying out for a very obvious reason. Yes. And another extremely tragic facet of its life is that they're suicidal by nature. Well, I mean, if your face looked like you wouldn't want to live, would you? And what they do is, they also suffer from a very rare disease. To give it its Latin nomenclature, it's known as ventus confusus. Confused wind. And that gives them a peculiar tenseness. And so they become suicidal, as I said. And, of course, during the mating season, it's particularly tough on them. And you see them circling each other, tossing a coin. And then suddenly they'll make their move, and if they're wrong, of course, they've hit Fred in the eye. And this can be extremely traumatic. And so they hurl themselves, like the lemmings of Norway, into the nearest body of water, which in this case would be the Grand Union Canal.
Tragic.
It is tragic. You see them floating out to a lonely death down by the lock. Be sucked under near the nearest lock, you see. So if I could issue a word of warning here, because obviously many people here would feel that the little Wolfenpoof deserves a better fate. If you're ever walking along the banks of the Grand Union Canal and you see one of these pathetic creatures floating down to a lonely death, and overcome with emotion, you strip off and you dive in, you swim out, you grab it, and you bring it to the shore, half drowned. You'll be very, very careful which method of resuscitation you use. Tragic, very, very tragic.
The kiss of life is not
recommended. The kiss of life is more like the kiss of death.
Michael, Michael, we've been doing some research. We've actually found your old flea circuit.
Really?
Yes, it's over there.
Oh, what?
Do you have any fleas with you? Any Wolfenpoof fleas?
Well, I've got the yes. Well, I was bring. Well, I